My name is Pastor Hal York, and welcome to Truth in the Trenches. Today we're going to be in Proverbs chapter 20, verse 11. It is by his deeds that a lad distinguishes himself, if his conduct is pure and right. Another version puts it this way: even a child makes himself known by his acts, by whether his conduct is pure and upright. We've all heard the saying that actions speak louder than words, and I think that's the principle that the writer of Proverbs is setting forth for us in this verse. But I want to give you a quote from a wonderful Puritan, Stephen Charnock, from his book, The Existence and Attributes of God, in his chapter on practical atheism. And he writes this: actions are a greater discovery of a principle than words. The testimony of works is louder and clearer than that of words. And the frame of men's hearts must be measured rather by what they do than what they say. Men's practices are the best indexes of their principles. The current of a man's life is a reflection of the frame of his heart. He goes on to say, a practical denial of God is worse than a verbal, because deeds have usually more of a deliberation than words. Words may be the fruit of passion, but a set of evil actions are the fruit and the evidence of a predominant evil principle in the heart. Where there is no reverence of God in the life, it is easily concluded that there is less in the heart. End of quote. Very thought-provoking words, especially in our day and age. Our verse sets forth this principle that it's not only true in adults, it's true in children as well. That even a child makes himself known by his acts. A child makes himself known by his actions. Were you a good boy today at school? Were you a good girl today at school? Most kids will invariably say yes. But a wise parent goes deeper than just the verbal response. A wise parent on parent-teacher night asks the teacher, are my kids behaving in school? It's not what they say, but what are they like? Do we believe Scripture? Do we believe what God tells us about ourselves? Do we believe what God tells us about our children? How are my kids doing in life? Their actions speak louder than words. Your child's behavior is giving you a look into their hearts. What's going on inside? What principles of life are they beginning to follow? They may say the right things. They're little angels, right? But what are the attitudes and actions you see? They are making themselves known to you by how they act. For example, it's one thing to say thank you. It's quite another to really mean it, and that will become evident in our actions. It's one thing to say I'm sorry, but it's another thing to really mean it, and that will become evident in our actions. Parenting our children, it's not taking a little child with a clean heart and trying to keep it clean. Parenting is a battle. It's a battle for their heart. They're born, as we all are, with a sinful heart, a heart bent on leading them astray, away from God, away from accountability, etc. What do you see in your child? What do you see that encourages you? Do you see character traits that are good? Maybe they're kind and thoughtful and they share. Be thankful for those things. Nurture them and encourage them. But if you're honest and have your eyes open, there are other things we all see in our kids. Our kids are going to do things that disappoint us. Are there things you see that cause you concern in the life and the actions of your children? As we know, we are all by nature born sinners, including our children. And as sinners, they are going to naturally display sinful actions: lying, stealing, disrespect, disobedience, selfishness, laziness, backtalk, uncontrolled anger, tantrums, and so on. And maybe they found lying to be an ever-present help in time of trouble, or it could be many other things. But this is going to seem strange, but be thankful that you see it. Because in your children, you still have time to warn, to discipline, to correct that behavior while they're still young, before it becomes ingrained as part of their character. For example, are they followers? Well, that's great. Be wise as to who they hang around, though, because they're followers. Are they discerning? Maybe your child shows leadership qualities. Well, that's great. But be alert as to how they treat those who follow them. How do they handle power, privilege? How do they treat their friends? How do they treat people who are younger than they are? The character traits your child learn and practice will become part of their character as a teenager and ultimately as an adult. As the saying goes, practice does not make perfect. Practice makes permanent. A child is known by his actions. That's reality. That's truth. We need to parent with our eyes wide open. Don't ignore bad behavior. Discipline lays the groundwork for presenting the gospel, their need for grace, their need for mercy, and their need for forgiveness from God, who created them. Remember, actions speak louder than words. So moms and dads, parents, pay attention to your children. Why? Because a child makes himself known by his actions. May this truth guide us and guard us in the trenches of life as we seek to live our lives for the glory of God and the good of others. May God bless.